All right. So how you guys doing?
Good, man. How you
Good.
doing?
Yeah.
Not
Good.
too cold?
It's a bit.
No. Good. So I'm gonna take this little area of time to drink some water, and I want to talk to you a bit about some natural processes in this Canadian Rockies. So have any of you ever seen like a forest fire, like on TV
Yeah.
or in real life?
Not real life.
I seen one in real life in BC.
Really?
Huh.
Yeah.
And like, what's the first thing that came to your mind?
I've never seen one in real life, but seeing on TV is pretty intense. Especially with people that live in the area.
Yeah.
And the one I saw in BC, we kind of came around the corner in the car. We saw all the smoke coming off the mountain, and yeah, everyone was like, "Oh, this is terrible."
Yeah, yeah, that's normal. Most of the time, the first reaction we see when we see a forest fire, we get scared. We think about the destruction that it can implies and all of that. So this brings me to ask myself: do forest fires actually have a positive impact on life in the Canadian Rockies? I don't know. Let's see. We're gonna explore together a little bit of the life after death and into the forest. So first of all, have any of you ever done a garden?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know why it's not good to take the earth from the pine trees or coniferous forests and put it like in the garden or do a compost?
Oh.
You know,
The pine needles there are really acidic. Oh.
yeah, we say the pine needles, but actually it's mostly the nutrients that the pine trees take from the ground, puts the ground very acidic. Yeah, as a matter of fact, nothing else can grow but coniferous a lot of trees, and that's makes a monoculture. So what we want is diversity, right? Like it's the same thing as our bodies. If we just have one kind of bacteria, we will be prone for diseases. It's the same thing for the forest. So actually what the fire does, the coal from the fire reintroduce nitrogen in the ground. Nitrogen becomes nutrients. Nutrients becomes biodiversity. And biodiversity, what it does is recovers a healthy ecosystem. So the soil becomes more nutrients and more fertile. And that implies also that it will create a wider variety of food for the animals, like mayflies for the fishes, like buffalo berries for the bears, and lots of grass for the elks and the mooses to graze on. Like, have any of you ever heard about the big forest fires that happened in the Kootenays in 2003?
No.
No?
I heard it happen, but nothing beyond that.
Yeah, well, in 2003 there was a big fire that happened, and it was coming towards Banff. It was like 50 kilometers from Banff, and everybody was really alarmed, really scared, and screaming. And then what they did is 15 kilometers from the fire, they set another fire, and those two fires met up, and that stopped the fire from coming closer. But what that did is the scientists came into, and they realized that that actually rejuvenated the forest and made the forests healthier. So in 2018, that should become a prime spot for grizzly bears and for the mooses to live in, actually. And also, do you know how we could have prevented that fire from becoming so big?
How we could have prevented it?
No.
Well, actually, by setting small fires, like for 13,000 years, the natives were here and set small fires in the woods to for the animals to live in, and they could hunt them, and that would create like a mosaic in the landscape, and the smaller landscape will stop the fire from coming because it has like grass and less lodgepole pine trees, so that's like a chessboard where everybody wins. And so that brings me to say, like, for 100 years, the when the colonizer came here, they stopped the fires. They saw they were litten by lightnings and they were really bad. So we fought fire for 100 years. And after that big fire, we realized that in 2003, that it was good, that actually forest fire had a positive impact on life in the Canadian Rockies. And since 2003, Parks Canada rethought all their park management and policies on forest fires and reinstated for prescribed burns in the Canadian Rockies. So next time you see forest fire, don't be scared, don't be alarmed. Think about the rejuvenation from the ashes, like the phoenix. When he gets old, he goes back and dies and comes back stronger and younger. And
Good analogy.
and a good analogy for that. Thanks. And yeah, so next time you see a fire, think of more like a cycle of life, more than destruction, more like a, life coming back stronger. So yeah, that's it. Do you have any questions?
No, that's pretty much explained a lot. Yeah.
Well, thank you, and
Good presentation.
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks a lot.
Some good info. Yeah, for sure.